Hi everybody, this is February Let's Play 2025 week 3, and I'm gonna be adding embellishments this week to this to my piece to remind you of what I had planned. I'm still going to use this one up here, and I'm still gonna add this here. Though, I did consider this light blue one, but I really think the yellow is the one. And this trim is I'm gonna baste it and stitch it down on this side. And I'm still not 100% sure about the dark yellow, but this is gonna be on top of both of these, so I've got time to still decide that. And I did figure out what I'm going to add to that. I'm going to add this little ribbon butterfly I have in my collection. I think that'll be a nice addition. The buttons are still undetermined, though I'm leaning towards the little blue ones. And I do think I have a plan for here using this button or this button. We will see. I think I like the blue one better, and of course the vase with the ribbon roses going here. And stay tuned. I mentioned last time as I was falling asleep, this idea for I have to get up every 2.5, 3 hours. I don't set an alarm, but my body has gotten used to sort of waking me up most of the time. Because I have to put more wood into the wood stove, and if I wait too long, then the wood stove gets cold, and then it's this whole thing to light, so it gets very cold in here because this place isn't winterized. So anyways, because I have to fall back asleep 2 or 3 times a night, I spend a lot of my time on purpose thinking about this, because so many times as I'm just falling asleep, an idea that it turns out to be something I love comes to me, and that's what happened here, and I'll share that soon. Okay, I'm going to start basting, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm popping in here for a moment just to show you something before I continue stitching. I've got the vase down stitched. I've got these trims basted, and I'm in the middle of stitching this trim here, and I wanted to show you something. I've blind stitched all the way around the outer edge, and what I wanted to show you before I continued, the camera's not perfectly sure. Well, it is a little bit. This is puffy, and this was puffy, and so what I decided to do to give it a little more dimension is I've come back and I've stitched in the curve here. And I just wanted to show you the difference. You can kind of see the difference. In real, it's showing up much more. But, so little details even like that I take into consideration. Just to avoid this being so puffy, I'm going to stitch along here and here too before I continue. All right, this is the experiment that the idea that I thought of when I was falling asleep. I cut myself a bunch of 4 inches of rickrack in 3 colors. I picked 4 inches because I want my ultimate square to be 2 inches, and what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to weave myself a patch. I don't know if this is going to work. In my imagination, it works and looks beautiful. So because I want 2 inches, I gave myself a couple extra inches. I've got my ironing mat here because I can pin into it. And I've got some pins, and I got my tapestry needle that I'm going to use for weaving. This whole process is not going to go on camera. It'll just be too long, but I'll show you the steps that I'm thinking. I didn't iron my rickrack because I haven't had the sunshine to iron it. I'm press it, but I'm hoping that I don't need to. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm gonna just pin them in the order that I want them to go. The bottom layer on the ironing mat. I have woven the basket of my hot air balloon for my bits and bobs. I did that in velvet. That one's slightly different because I actually attached it to a base fabric, and in this case I'm not, so that's part of the experiment part. I'm how to get it to stay. So I'm just gonna alternate the colors in the order that I want them. Apparently that 4 inches is different than that 4 inches. And frankly, if you're seeing this, the experiment must have went well, because I put it on. If it fails, I don't have to put this video anywhere. Wow, that 4 inches is completely different size. Oh well. Actually, let's do this. I didn't do any kind of crazy super measurement. I just did the first one and then quickly cut the others from there. I cut 9 of each, I think. Maybe 8 of this one, because in the measuring of things, I knew that I would have an extra blue. And then in this way, I'm going to try and have the extra of the light blue, so that the yellow, I didn't need 9. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'll be back once I have this base pinned. Okay, base is pinned, and now with my tapestry, this is 2 inches. My tapestry needle, I'm going to thread the rickrack in a little bit, and I'm going to weave over, under, over, under. See how this goes. My apology for the not super bright light. It's because I'm doing this on a late snowy afternoon, so it's not got the best light going. But it was the best time for me for the next couple of days, so I just thought I'd... Okay. Yes. So I'm not going to keep a whole inch over, because in case I need some of that side for the dimension of it, that it takes up some of the... So I'm just... And I do want to keep at least 1 curve, maybe 2, sticking out from the patch too. So I'm making sure I'm doing that. So yeah, make sure I pull that back. And then the thing to make sure about is that this, especially the first one, that it's perpendicular to the other one, so that you don't start weaving sideways or at an angle. Though I guess that could be interesting too. Okay, I think, is that good? I think so. All right, so I'm going to just pin that one, though it doesn't seem to need a pin, but I'm going to just do it for safety. Okay, and then the next color is the dark blue. Now, with weaving, if I went over this with this one I'm going under. And you don't have to do it beside it. You can move it over slightly where it's easier to weave, and then you push it towards the piece that it's going to be sitting beside. Okay. Now, like with everything that you, almost everything that you stitch, it doesn't just, I'm not finding it that gorgeous at the moment, but I think I'm going to hold off my opinion until I've got at least many more pieces in, because that's, yeah, it could beautify, which sometimes it does. It's pretty amazing how you start stitching something and you think, oh, I don't know about this, but then if you just keep going, it gets through its ugly stage and into a more beautiful stage. Yeah. Okay, so next one is yellow. So that one was under, so over, over. Well, that moved over a lot easier this time. If you're seeing this, it's because it got beautiful, because I'm not thinking it's so beautiful at the moment. It's interesting, but I'm not sure I'd call it beautiful. Well, it might. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off, and if it gets beautiful, I'll come back on. I think it will get more beautiful. I just, as I said, the video would be too long if you had to watch me do every step of the way. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I'm zipping back in here for just a few minutes. I'm losing my light, so I did get them woven, and I do think it turned into something beautiful. I wanted it a square, so I'm going to nudge these closer and move these slightly larger and see if I can't get a balance in the middle. And then I'm also going to tack stitch each join on the edges, and I think that'll hold it just fine. When I've done that, which will be another day, like maybe by tomorrow, I'm going to work on it this evening, so we'll see how much I get done. I'll come back and I'll show you that part. I'm going to do the tack stitching. I'm assuming this is going to work using the color that's on top with a very fine needle, and just do one join at a time, and then as I get the little tack stitch in there, I can pull out those pins and move around the piece until all the pins are out. I think that's how I'm going to be able to do it. I'll report back. Okay, it's the next day. I got it all stitched last night, and I gave it a good press just now. As you might be able to tell, I have some sunshine. Yay! And if you don't understand why I keep referring to that, I live off-grid in a forest, and my only source of power is the sun hitting my solar panels and feeding the battery system that I have. And the batteries are old, so they don't hold as good a charge as they used to. So that's why I mention that on occasion. at this time of year more than on occasion. Anyways, all right, what I'm going to do is, I was going to report. It didn't work doing it one little joint at a time, taking out the pins. That was not working. So without properly thinking it through, I just lifted the whole thing up, hoping that the edges would stay, and they didn't. So it was a lot of fussy redoing and things like that, but I did get it stitched, and now it is staying. If I do this again, and if you want to do this, my suggestion is, after you've got it all woven, take those outer pins and put them in the joins. Then lift the whole thing up and work with it that way. The reason I didn't work taking out one pin at a time is there wasn't enough room to get my needle under to properly do a tacking stitch. It's not pretty on the back. I am going to take care of all these threads. I think I'll probably just clip them off, but I didn't want to do that until I thought about it more. And then now after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it maybe 1/4 inch from the edge so that I have some rickrack sticking out beyond the square. And then I'll figure out how and to put it on my piece. But yeah, so for now I thought I'd show you that. Okay, final bit for this week. This turned out just lovely. I really, really like this. The only sad part, I guess, no, that's not the right thing. When I started digging into my tray with all the embellishments that I thought I might use, I found this tiny rickrack, and I'm kind of sorry now I didn't see it earlier, as I would have included it too. But oh well. And then yes, so I really like how that turned out, but as it's been sitting here and I've been watching it and looking at it, it's lacking something. I can't just leave it like stitched down like that. So I think I'm gonna try and figure out something I can incorporate maybe this rickrack with. We'll see. I'm still playing with that. I'll show you next week. I finished stitching this down completely around with a blanket stitch. I have started stitching that with a blanket stitch. I did this embroidery here. I did the variation on the back stitch that I used on my brown and red, but I did it twice. So I made it into diamonds, and then I put 2 different blue French knots down the center. And I also, let's see, I did the darker blue blanket stitch here. I really like the blanket stitch, but then I didn't like it. So then I decided to add the 2 other colors to it, and that really, it's subtle, but there's something interesting about that completely. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is I started stitching down the top edge of this. I wasn't going to at first, but this was just a little too loose for me. There's something, and that's why I didn't finish stitching it yet, because I wanted to show you. You can see here how, get that thread out of the basting thread out of the way. You can see here how it melds into the piece when it's stitched down. This isn't melding yet, so I'm going to stitch it all the way across. There. So, yeah, I'll continue on and see you next week. Happy stitching. It's helpful if you let me know that you are enjoying these videos by, I mean, I see people that are watching them, but do you like them? So use a like or a comment. That's helpful for me to know how things are going. All right. Happy stitching.